Many of you who are on the far extreme left keep pushing your narrative and never want to see others' points of view, which seems eerily close to Alexander Trachtenberg's slow brainwashing, using the media and educational leaders to tilt minds just enough that by the time it leaks into politics, reality isn't even recognizable anymore. Look, I understand some of your concerns. I really do. I appreciate your passion for what I'll generously call your creative interpretation of reality. Like a conspiracy theory, but make it artsy. You're clearly passionate, and that's admirable. Misguided, sure, but admirable. Like a cat who thinks it owns the house. You're wrong, but impressively confident. Most of you know me, but for those who do not, I'm Gino 𝙭. Every time, I try to bring topics that are relevant, because reality checks aren't just for your bounce checks, folks. Now let's talk about racial identity. Yes, it has historical significance. That's like saying water is wet or the internet is full of bad opinions. True, but not exactly breaking news. And yes, racism happened. A lot. We've got receipts, history books, awkward high school assemblies, and literally all of roots. But, and this is a Sir Mix-a-Lot level, but we've also made progress. Real, meaningful progress. We're no longer legally segregating water fountains, for starters, baby steps, people. Here's the twist. Sometimes, when you focus too hard on racial identity, it becomes less about empowerment and more about playing 4D chess with identity politics. And let's be real. Most people are barely managing checkers. Emphasizing racial identity too much, that's like seasoning your food with just cayenne pepper. Spicy? Yes. Delicious? Only if you're trying to cosplay as a fire-breathing dragon. How does clinging to labels free you? What's the end game here? Permanent victimhood. Now let's talk about division. When we define ourselves only by race, we run the risk of reinforcing the very boxes we're trying to escape. It's like yelling, "Down with labels," while handing out name tags. There's a cosmic irony there, isn't there? Instead, let's celebrate something wild and controversial, our shared humanity. I know, radical stuff. Next, I'll be suggesting people say thank you to cashiers and excuse me when sneezing. Total anarchy. But seriously, why does unity scare people more than division? Now, regarding the Jewish community, yes, they've experienced prejudice, just like basically every community has at some point, because humans have a deeply annoying habit of judging anything that doesn't look like it was made in their own mirror. Shocker. Prejudice didn't retire in the 60s like it was some racist boomer cashing out its 401k. It's still here, just wearing different outfits. But here's the kicker. We address these issues through education, empathy, and the wild concept of talking to each other like sentient beings, not angry Twitter bots. Now, let's clear up some definitions before we all start yelling into the void. Racism equals systemic, baked into structures often subtle. Think racism is the outdated software your institution runs in the background that nobody bothers to update. Bigotry equals personal-level prejudice. Think your uncle who watches too much cable news and thinks every foreign language is a threat to national security. And right now, what we're seeing in most places, that's bigotry, not full-blown, coordinated racism. It's more like clumsy bias in a trench coat pretending to be systemic oppression. And we're confusing the two. Constantly. It's like calling a paper cut a stab wound. One needs a Band-Aid, the other needs a trauma surgeon. Important distinction, right? If we can't tell the difference, how do we solve anything?
So yes, let's talk about real issues. But let's do it with clarity, not with the emotional equivalent of a Molotov cocktail. When we conflate racism and bigotry, we don't look smarter. We just look like we skipped a few chapters in the syllabus of how society works. Look, I respect your perspective. I hope you respect mine. We might not agree, but that's okay. Dialogue isn't about winning. It's about understanding. So let's keep the conversation going, minus the eye-rolling and personal attacks. And maybe, just maybe, we can laugh a little while we do it. But if not, maybe ask yourself, am I fighting for real progress or just trying to win an argument no one else is even playing? And here's the biggest question of all. What if the reality you refuse to see is the only thing that could actually set you free? Are we trapped by identity politics?